Sausage and Brain. Welcome to another episode of You Call That Targeting. My gosh! Army and Navy gave us a game. I mean, probably the game of the year in my opinion. I might be a little biased because it is my favorite game of the year, but my gosh, what an absolute tit slapper. I'm here with my co-host, Mike Rochburns. I'm here with Earl Maynard. And this show's going to be a little different because we, first of all, don't have a lot to recap. And I didn't even really take any notes or anything. We're also not picking any games. We're going to we're going to kind of discuss some of the playoff games. And we got a few questions. But let's just recap Army and Navy. I picked Navy. Mike picked Navy. And Earl picked Army. He needed Army to win. So he could win the season-long points. And of course he did it. Of course I won, because I'm the greatest thing that's ever happened to college football podcasting. I mean, that's without an absolute doubt. I knew I was going to whip everybody's tits. I mean, Mike didn't even stand a chance, because he was nothing but pure garbage all year. But Earl did have a chance, but not really. I mean, I knew I had him right where I wanted him. He had no garbage chance. And so anyways, I ended up with 85 points on the end of the year. Earl ended up with 80, and Mike, like nothing but pure absolute hits, ended up with 62 points. But Navy wins this game 17-16. I feel bad for you. If you did not get to watch this game, or you're like, oh, I went Christmas shopping with Grandma, and you missed this game, what an idiot. Because it was impressive. My goodness. What an absolute awesome game. And, man, I mean, I hope some of these playoff games end up being this good. But I kind of doubt it because we got a few matchups that's probably not going to be close. And there's going to be a couple teams that get their nipples slapped in. So we'll talk about that here in a second. Normally, we would give away awards, which I guess I could give away my team of the week would be to the Navy midshipmen. For a great game, but I mean, I really don't have no trash to talk about because I mean, Army played a competitive game, only lost by 1 point, so they weren't trash at all. So really no awards this week. So I guess we'll just move right on into questions. All right, first question is going to be from Swollen Gnats. It says Diego Pavia's face looks like he's always eating warheads. What an idiot. His brothers look even more stupid. Question is, Sasha, if you could make a firework, what would it do and what would it be called? Same question for Earl, but not for Mike. Mike is Cap. Who uses Cap unless you're just a 12-year-old idiot? Anyways, but yeah, Diego Pavia can suck my pure nipples. What an idiot. And I'm glad he didn't win the Heisman. I don't care if Vanderbilt went undefeated. And he threw for 7,000 yards. He's still an idiot, and I'm just glad he didn't win the Heisman. What a piece of garbage. And his brothers suck pure balls too. So, anyways, so I agree with you there. If I could create a firework, and what would it do? I would probably create a firework called the Red Hot Nipple. And it would shoot up. It would be like the style that you put the big the mortar style. You put down in the pipe, and it, you got a long fuse. You shoot it up in the air, and it's got a big boom. And it would boom, and it would be bright red, just a bright red circle, and in the middle another bright red circle to look like a red hot nipple. So that would be mine. What about you, Earl?
Well, this is an interesting question, to be honest. I've never really heard anybody ask this question, and I guess it's pretty. I don't know who can really sit at home and think about. I'm gonna ask some guys on the podcast of what kind of firework they would want to be, or I just don't really get who does that, but I guess I'll still answer his question because it's pretty interesting, I have to say. I guess I would probably call mine the Runs. It would be spelled R-U-N-Z, the Runs. And it would be, like you said, more like a mortar style firework, and it would explode to look like a toilet that's being overflowed with turds. So I don't know how brown would show up. I mean, in a firework at nighttime, that's something that I'd have to get together with the scientists that are helping me develop it. We might have to go with a gold. Maybe that'll be the trick to supplement the browns. But yeah, it would explode, and I would want it to look like the toilet seat opens, if that's possible, depending on what the scientists working on it think. But yeah, we would. The toilet seat would open up, and it looked like turds and diarrhea and those kind of brown juices, or gold, or whatever the color he decides. Maybe even orange. Might would work, but yeah, it would be called the runs.
First of all, I'm not even Cap. I don't even know why the guy called me Cap, but just because he called me Cap, I'm going to answer his question anyways. I mean, I know he didn't ask for it, but here we go. I would just call mine the Mike Extravaganza, and it would just be a big explosion of just multicolored what
Mike,
stuff. No wonder you're so lame. I mean, man,
that's not
no wonder people think you're such an idiot.
People love colored fireworks.
You can think of anything you want to think of, and you would just have a multicolored firework.
Yes,
they make those every daggone blame day. My goodness, what a moron!
I mean, come on, Sasha. I mean, he just asked what kind of firework it would be, and mine would just be cool, bright colors.
All it would be is just pure trash, is what it would be.
Yeah, you like bright
goodness,
colors because of rainbows.
What are you trying to say, Earl? Just forget it. I shouldn't have even answered.
Yeah, my goodness, we'll try our best to forget it, because what an idiot you are. Just don't even answer these next questions. If they're for, even if they say this question is for Mike, keep your daggone mouth shut. My goodness. Let's move on to the next question. It's from Diet Coke is the tits. It says, I was having a great day until I remembered that your podcast existed. This podcast is such a waste of time. I wish Earl had his own podcast. Now that would be a fun listen. Well, Diet Coke is the tits. You can suck my pure tits, because my goodness, what an idiot. I'm just glad that my podcast is in your mind. When you wake up and you say it ruins your day, at least you're thinking of my podcast. What are you doing with your stupid garbage life? My goodness. And Earl having a podcast by himself would be a pure disaster.
I don't know about that, Sasha. I think I could make it pretty interesting, to be honest. I'd probably do like barbecue reviews and beef jerky reviews, soda reviews. You remember when you used to do soda reviews, Sasha? Now you don't. And I had a good soda today, to be honest. I saw it I was at the gas station, and I was gonna get me some dip, and I was just looking at the drink. Oh, and I got a Baby Ruth candy bar. I'll get on that in just a second, but I was looking at the drinks, and I saw this Pepsi can, and I was like, oh my goodness, like that's such a beautiful can. And usually I don't buy stuff because the beautiful cans, but it was beautiful, and it was a cherry Pepsi. And I was like, oh, I've never seen it in this can before, bro. When I got back to my house, I saw that it was cherry vanilla or cherry cream. Yeah, that's what it was. Cherry cream, and it was really good. But so I approve of it. I probably would have gave it about a 7 out of 10 if I was doing an official review. But I want to get back. The Baby Ruth candy bar is fantastic. I went so much of my life without having Baby Ruths, and man, it's good. Peanuts and caramel or caramel, whatever you want to call it. I used to say caramel when I was a kid, and then I got slapped a few times, and they corrected it to caramel, and so now it's imprinted in my brain to say caramel. But I love Baby Ruth candy bars. I can't believe I went so many years of my life without loving them like they deserve. And man, they're great. They're kind of like a payday, but even better. But what were we? Oh yeah, I'd have a great podcast. Yeah, I do all kinds of reviews and give advice to the young kids out there, and it'd be great. I don't know what I would call it. I'd probably have to ask for the fans' help, but yeah, I think I'd be a great host.
My goodness, I'd rather listen to somebody clip their toenails than to listen to Earl's podcast. That'd be pretty much garbage. But anyways, we got one more, and I'm dreading even asking this one. Cody Corndumps. He says, I want to hear Earl explain gravity. So, the floor is yours, Earl.
Well, I look at gravity. I mean, it's there, but you can't see it. It's kind of like ghosts and spirits and the wind. There's a lot of things that you can't see, but it's there, and you can see the effects of it. I know I've seen effects of gravity when I trip over a shoelace, or when I end up with beef jerky crumbs in my down in my shirt. That was due to gravity, because I was sitting down, and they fell down. Now, if I was eating beef jerky upside down, then the crumbs would fall to the ground. So they wouldn't get in my chest hair. But gravity, it's one of those things you can't live without it, basically. I mean, there's some astronauts have lived without it for years, and I know there's some people that believe space is fake, and probably our good friend Flat Earth Ernie is probably listening to the podcast, and he probably don't even believe in the International Space Station. But I guess I would explain gravity as just a visible force that holds things down. It's great. We need it, but it can also kill you. I mean, you jump out of a 50-foot, building, and nobody catches you. Gravity it's kind of a murderer in a way, if you think about it, and it's killed a lot of people. It's just an invisible force that you don't want to end up on its bad side. Well, let's just say it that way. As long as you're just having beef jerky crumbs in your chest hair, gravity's pretty, it's pretty chill. But you just don't want to fall out of a building.
See, I knew I didn't want to ask that question, because I know for 100% fact that I'm dumber now than I was just 2 minutes ago. I mean, it's as simple as that. I feel so just idiotic for just listening to what Earl had to explain there. Anyways, I guess what we'll do now is we will talk a little bit about the games coming up. We're not really making official picks because the picks are done. But we do have some college football playoff action tomorrow, Friday night, starting with Alabama at Oklahoma for the first round. Oklahoma is a 1.5 point favorite. I'm really excited to see this game. I hope Oklahoma whips tits, to be honest with you. I'm still ticked off that Alabama's even in, and it's not even the fact that Notre Dame's not in. It's just I think Alabama don't deserve it. I think they've played like pure garbage in their last handful of games. And if I'm Oklahoma, I'm blitzing every play, because apparently Ty Simpson does not know what to do when you send pressure. And if I'm Oklahoma's defense, I'm sending like 8 people every time and just daring Alabama to throw the ball deep. I would take the chance. I don't like Alabama. I think they suck pure garbage. And I'm hoping Oklahoma whips tits.
Well, I personally think this is going to be the best game of the first round, because we do have a couple of probably not so good games. So I'm really looking forward to watching this one tomorrow and see how it goes. So I think it's a good game. I do think Oklahoma will find a way to win. It definitely, if Alabama plays like they've been playing, but it wouldn't shock me at all if Alabama does find a way to win.
Yeah, I agree with Mike. I think this could be the best game of the first round. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be pretty action packed. I think it will be close, and I think Alabama's going to pull it out. I really do. I think they're going to play better. I think they're going to be a little bit more motivated. I think they're mad that Oklahoma went into their home and beat them. So I think they want to go into Norman and get a win. So I think I would go Roll Tide here.
Yeah, and then the next day, Saturday, we have Miami at Texas A&M. It's an 11 o'clock game, so that sucks. I was really wanting to see a night game at Texas A&M. I think that would be incredible. But Texas A&M's favored 3.5. I really hope Texas A&M wins this game. I do not want to see Carson Beck win another game. He can suck my pure balls, and I can't stand him. So I hope he throws 4 interceptions like he's prone to do, and I hope they lose.
I think Miami's one of the more dangerous teams in the playoffs. I think a lot of people, wrote them off after they lost, to Louisville and SMU. But I mean, if Carson Beck is playing at his best, and then all their defense is pretty stout, they got a good offensive line. It wouldn't shock me at all if they can walk away with a win here and actually make a run in the playoffs. I think them and Alabama are the teams that kind of outside that top 4 that I really feel could make a run. So I'm going to be excited to see this one.
Carson Beck can kiss my cheeks. He's the ugliest dude I've ever seen. I asked Franny the other day. I was like, "Hey, what would you rate, Carson Beck on a scale of 1 to 10?" And she gave him a 3, and I was like, "What are you even talking about?" I mean, I was like, "Well, what do you give me?" And she's like, "Well, of course, you're a 10 because you're the love of my life." And then, I cried a little bit, but once I thought about it more, I'm like, how in the world can he even be that close to me? I mean, he's a 3 and I'm a 10. He shouldn't even be nowhere near. He should be like a -47 or, I mean, the dude's got, his eyes. It's just, I don't even get it. I don't even get how it's possible. I had my eyes examined, like a few weeks ago, and, they measure the distance of your eyes. So for your glasses, I'd like to see his measurements. They probably have to custom order some extra wire to put in there to space them out, or I guess he could wear contacts and that would fix that problem. But man, just the dude's ugly.
He's ugly as pure garbage. But the next game that's going to come on at 2:30, Tulane at Ole Miss. This is going to be just a pure nipple blowout. My goodness. I mean, Ole Miss is favored 17.5. They're going out there to prove something. They're going out there to prove something that that they can do it without Lane Kiffin. They're going to be motivated. They've already whipped Tulane's nipples earlier in the year, so they've seen this team. I hope it's a good game. I hope some way Tulane plays a lot different than that first time they met, but I don't look for it to be a close game. And then we're going to end up at 6:30, the main event, Oregon versus James Madison. What a piece of garbage main event for the first round of the playoffs. Oregon's 21.5 point favorite. This game's going to be over at halftime, folks. I hate to break it to you, but you might as well just plan on watching the first half of this game and then going to bed. It's going to suck pure balls. I will, if James Madison finds a way to win this game, I will take my stepson to Paris for a week. All expenses paid. If James Madison wins this game. That's how confident I am that this game's going to be over at halftime. And if it's not, if it's within 24 points at halftime, I will give my stepson $500 to spend on anything he wants for Christmas. So basically, if James Madison wins, he gets a trip to Paris for a week, all expenses paid. And if they can keep it within 24 points at halftime, he gets $500 cash. That's how confident I am that Oregon's going to whip the absolute pure nipple out of James Madison. So, pretty much couple of garbage games there, but maybe Alabama, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M and Miami will be good enough games that it just makes up for it. But that's it for this episode. I really don't know how we're gonna handle all the. We got Christmas next week. So I don't know how, if I'm going to do an episode next week. Maybe we'll just jump in after some of these games and after Christmas sometime before the new year and we'll discuss what happened in this first round. But anyways, I guess we'll just wing it and figure it out. That's all I give a crap about. But anyways, I hope you guys have an absolute Merry Christmas. And thank you guys for listening.